Hello, this is the big news for today. The big news is that the clouds of war are gathering and becoming darker by the hour over the Gulf region, also adjoining South Asia, particularly areas adjoining Pakistan. Israel seems to be really geared up to attack Iran's nuclear infrastructure. The Trump administration seems to be backpedaling its initial optimism that it would be able to create a breakthrough with Iran. The latest statements from President Trump suggest that something else is happening other than the deal.
They can't have a nuclear weapon. Very simply. They can't have a nuclear weapon. We're not going to allow that. Mr. President.
In the meanwhile, the American Defense Secretary has asked non-essential staff to be moved out of Baghdad. The same instructions have gone to for voluntary return and movement to Kuwait and Bahrain staff. In Baghdad, they already had non-essential staff removed, but whoever remains basically has to move out. So when the American president says that this can be a dangerous place, obviously it's not going to be Washington that will be firing missiles into Iran, but it will be Israel, which had already made the intent very clear that regardless of the enrichment level, we do not want Iran to have any kind of nuclear capability, whether it is for civilian purposes or for whatever purposes. So that's a no-no. So when Trump says that Iran cannot have a nuclear bomb, he is still not meeting from Netanyahu's point of view the Netanyahu baseline. The Netanyahu baseline is inhuman. The Netanyahu baseline is irrational. The Netanyahu baseline is repressive, and it is steeped in fear and also a sense of arrogance that is based in some deep inferiority complex. That being so, the Netanyahu baseline still holds good as far as power dynamics are concerned. We have seen that happen in Gaza. We have seen how Israel has defied in the past the American sense of restraint and did things in Iran and around the Gulf region that the Americans did not really take kindly to. So this time round, they have also made it clear that regardless of what the American interests would be, our interest demand that we are going to knock out the Iranian infrastructure. Iran, however, will not see it this way. Iran's defense minister has made it very clear that if they suspect that such attacks are being facilitated by the Americans, then we will attack American bases within our reach. Remember, Americans maintain a very large base footprint as far as the Gulf is concerned. This is the area of high diplomatic activity. This is the area of the highest economic oil transportation and trade activity. This is really the choke point as well as the meeting point of big global interests. If this area chokes up, gets onto the map of war, then big ticket interest will be hurt. If this area stays stable, a lot of trade will flourish. So that is the strategic significance of this area. So the Iranians will not hold back. They will attack wherever they can attack. And this thing is going to expand massively. For Pakistan, whose field marshal is in the US, the trip that is going to assume immense importance against the backdrop not just of the recent war between India and Pakistan and the ceasefire that was brokered according to the US president himself, but also because of the new developments. For Pakistan, the situation is fraught. It has both opportunities as well as dangers. As far as the opportunities are concerned, it will be in the core interest of global powers that if Israel were to do something like this, that this conflict does not expand. Of course, they do not control the dynamics of the conflict, but going purely by the experience, say, in Europe, where a fight is raging between Ukraine and Russia, the attempt has been to make sure that Russian designs and ambitions do not vault over the Ukrainian issue and try to acquire a more aggressive, expansive kind of tenor. So they have been able to, in a way, confine the conflict to the border areas of Ukraine and Russia. Of course, the primary factor in the limited nature of this conflict is that Russia doesn't have ambitions that go beyond certain areas. But European fears have always been that this conflict can spill into other areas, so they are trying to limit it. So wherever there's big ticket conflict taking place, the global powers' interest, one, is to preempt it, prevent it, as long as it serves their interests. Otherwise, they let the conflict unfold. Or if it were to break out, limit it. So in Pakistan's case, the areas that are beyond Iran and close to and adjoining the Gulf region, Strait of Hormuz, the Oman Gulf, those areas are very, very important. So Pakistan becomes a very important country strategically. It becomes a pivot of stability and ensuring that this conflict does not go beyond this particular rim. That is the opportunity, and doors will accordingly open for Pakistani leadership. And the Field Marshal, because of his honorary title, also now represents the state of Pakistan. So in a way, he's a state and government representative too. So these opportunities will open up. You'll have more engagement. Pakistan will get a seat at the high table. We can use this opportunity to our immense advantage of deeper engagement with the U.S. and also playing a very positive, pivotal role. The danger, however, is that as we move in this direction and conflict erupts, Pakistan will have to take a stand. And Iranians, despite the fact that it's a brotherly country, have had problems in the past with regard to Pakistan's association with the U.S. Pakistan, of course, alternatively and conversely, has its own issues with Iran, and a case in point is the border skirmish that took place. So these countries, despite their shared geography and shared interests and claims of brotherhood, do have a certain simmering hostility. If big ticket conflict breaks out and heavy hitters join in the game, the world might again be divided into two camps. So Iranians would want to see not just a neutral Pakistan, but a Pakistan that tilts in their favor. That's going to be a pretty tough judgment call, and I'm sure this is on the minds of the policymakers here in Pakistan. The other danger is the spillover social effect, because Iran, because of its peculiar revolutionary background, looks at its ideology beyond borders and has affinity with groups that exist in other countries, may want to create a regional dynamic in its favor. Public demonstrations, groups getting active in different countries, not just in Gulf, but here in Pakistan as well. And that can lead to a lot of trouble and instability. Pakistan also would not want to take a stand that is going to be hurtful of its ties with China. Remember that. Pakistan always does a tightrope walking when it comes to ties with USA and China. In this case, if USA is to be on one side and China is very neutral and looks at these developments with a suspicious eye, that is it meant to essentially destabilize the region through which CPEC passes, then Pakistan will again have a difficult judgment call to make. So tight diplomatic maneuvering will be taking place. This region is really set for big news. This region is set for big developments. We do hope that this storm of insanity that Israel is cooking up does subside. We do hope that Iranian and U.S. interests on clinching a deal come together quickly. And we do hope that a lot of this rhetoric about Israel striking inside Iran is more like bluff rather than reality. But, hopes do spring eternal, but hopes need wings of practical events. As we see practical events take shape, it does not look good.